girls drop out of sports at twice the rate of boys by age
Really?
14. And so that means 14 is when people are going to high school, right? And so
Yeah.
girls aren't even in sports anymore. And if we can change that
Interesting.
by having a coach who knows how to
Mhm.
connect, because when girls feel cared for, they really, really thrive in a sports environment.
Sports taught you how to compete, how to lead, how to push past limits when no one was watching. But what happens when the season ends, when the uniform comes off and the identity shifts? Welcome to the Beyond Her Game podcast. I'm Tori Barker, former Division I softball player and founder of Beyond Her Game. Athletes are trained to pursue excellence and lead under pressure, but no one prepares us for life when the game changes. This podcast is for female athletes building what comes next. We talk about business, brand, money, mindset, and identity beyond sports. The things no one teaches you in the locker room. Because the skills you built through sports don't disappear. They're just the beginning. Welcome to Beyond Her Game. We are back for another episode of the podcast. I am super excited to introduce my guest, Claire Rietmann-Grout. How are you?
Hi, Tori. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, these conversations I love because you and I are both softball players. We're in this arena of athletics and sports and coaches and all of this fun stuff. So I feel like, just going into this conversation is going to be like two friends having a conversation and we're just going to see where it goes, right?
I feel that way too.
So let's start with tell us just a little bit about your background and how that led you to the work that you're doing today.
Yes. Okay. Long story short, but I'll say more details. I grew up playing softball and I loved playing softball. And then after college, I wasn't really sure what else to do besides coach. And then my career went from there. But the longer story is, I grew up in Half Moon Bay, California. I played softball first, and I also danced. I did a lot of ballet. Um, and when I was 9, I decided I wanted to be a pitcher. And then when I was around 10, I decided that I wanted to play Division I softball. So I was working towards this goal from a really early age. I accomplished that and was able to play softball at Towson University in Maryland, which is a big Division I school back east. Um, and something that's important for people to understand about me is I am a product of an all girls education. And so in my high school, the majority of leaders, both at the student level and at the adult level, were women. And so I had a female athletic director, and I thought that was normal. So when I got to college and I looked around, and I did have a female coach in college, which was great. But when I looked around, the majority of the leadership who were making decisions for me and for my team did not look like me. Our athletic department was led by men. And so all of these decisions were being made through the lens of a male athlete.
Interesting.
And this kind of got me thinking a little bit, yeah, about representation in sports.
Mm.
And so fast forward, I got my degree, and then I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after college. So I was like, okay, well, I will start coaching softball. And then the school I was coaching at was an all-girls school in Los Angeles. They asked, hey, would you want to teach PE? Sure, I know
Yeah.
sports. I could teach PE. Why not? And so that was where I decided that I really wanted to give my players who were girls an experience outside of the classroom that was meaningful for
Yeah.
life, not just in their sport. I really wanted to create good people.
Yeah.
And so that's where I started kind of. Like solidifying my coaching philosophy, coaching girls. And I really realized then that's where I wanted to empower girls and women to lead through sports.
Yeah.
So keep going in my career. I really started progressing in or in administration in schools. Every single step of my career has had some iteration of leading and coaching student leaders
Mm.
to be their best selves. And so that has led me to where I am today. I have founded the Positive Coach, and I help youth coaches by giving them tools for communication that are research based, not just communication, but also leadership and connection that they can
Yeah.
use with their teams. So that is the longer story about where I am today. And, women's sports are just, it's such an exciting time to be
Mhm.
in women's sports. And I felt a calling to get
Yeah.
back to that. And so here I am.
Yeah, I love that. And I love what you said, that it's more about the sport and you wanted to coach and build good humans, right? And I think that's something that gets lost in the hustle and bustle of athletics and performance and winning and media and all of these things because, you know, you often look at like if you watch college sports, it's there's such a hype, especially around football, right? If we're talking male sports. There is such a hype around football, but if you really peel back and take a step back, these are kids. Like they're literally like 18, 19, maybe 24, right? And so there's such a hype and like they have to perform and if they don't do well, like it's over, right? And if you really just pare it down to this is a sport that they love. This is a competition that they're doing because of a passion that they have, a skill set that they have. But on the outside of it, they're building leadership skills and they're building, you know, like reliability and, grit and all of those things. And so it's like so much more than what you're just watching for entertainment. So I love that you said that you're wanting to build humans outside of it.
Definitely. And you're talking about skills,
Yeah,
and you can learn so much through sports. For me, I really learned to lead on the softball field.
yeah,
I found my voice, and being able to advocate for myself. And that's huge. So that was a skill that I've been able to use throughout my career. I've been able to use in my
yeah,
family. I've been able to use with my friends. And
yeah.
there's other skills that you can learn too from not just finding your voice, management, working with
Mm,
other people. And these are transferable skills that you can practice in your sport and gain confidence there, and then
yeah.
go out and lead and use them in your greater life.
Yeah. So, one of the other things that you touched on, which was really key for your development, was coming from an all-female leadership, foundation to then being exposed to male coaches. What are the differences that you see, the biggest differences from male coaches to female coaches as it relates to coaching girls, I guess, specifically?
Yeah, so I think that like regardless of sex or gender, the coaches who care about the athletes and they build that connection first.
Yeah,
And so the athlete knows that like, oh, my coach cares about me as a person, not just as an athlete or
so
someone
true.
who's going to perform for them. Those are the ones who do the best.
Yeah.
Those are the ones who get the best out of their players. I know you are also a fan of Coach Corey Close from UCLA
Yes.
women's basketball, and she is such a great role model of doing that, just winning a national championship. But so I really believe that a good coach needs to connect first.
Yeah.
So the player knows that they care. When they feel cared for, that's when they will all of a sudden feel like they're willing to take
Mm,
that next step and
yeah.
willing to fail, try something new. And then once they do that and they see that they're succeeding and working hard at it, confidence grows. And once they feel confident, when an athlete
Yeah.
starts to feel confident, then they can lead. But if we
Yeah.
don't have those four steps, connection, um, building confidence is the third step. And then if we don't have those solidified, then we leading is too hard. It's too difficult. So we need to have the foundation first.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, as an athlete, um, you're you're trying to it's almost like having a role model, right? Like your coach is often like a role model, a mentor, somebody that you look up to. And if you don't do well, you're afraid that they're going to be upset or that you are going to get in trouble, right? Especially for, I think, young athletes. And so the way that the adult coach approaches that relationship as a support, as a advisor, somebody to encourage them along that it's okay to fail. We fail forward, like all of those things. That is just like the catapult to success. Just like you said, it builds that confidence in them that it's okay to make mistakes, but it's how you transition from that mistake that builds that resilience and that next step to make you a better athlete, make you a better person, make you able to handle situations that may come in life and in sports.
Yeah, without the player coach trust that you build
Mm,
first through connection, then players don't feel safe to try new things. And so you have to develop that first. Once they start feeling safe, I call it emotional safety at practice.
I love that.
Then and they feel cared for, then they're like, oh, maybe I will try this new skill. And once they feel good in practice, then they maybe try it in the game. And
Yeah.
after they try it in the game, confidence grows, and it's just like a cycle that keeps
Yeah.
cycling through.
Yeah. Do you think that there's coaches that underestimate the role that they play in the lives of these athletes?
I think that all coaches know that their role is important. I
Yeah.
think that coaches maybe just prioritize different things at different times, also
True.
depending on the level, you know?
Yeah, very true.
And so, yeah, like a youth sports coach, maybe their priorities are just like getting all the kids doing the right thing, herding the cats, right? And like
Yes.
maybe a college coach, or like they have a different perspective, like, okay, my job's kind of online if I don't win, but I also
Yeah.
want good people. How do I balance that? So I think that like coaches are so important, whether you have a good coach or a not so good coach, right? Like they can really make an impact on an athlete. And it only takes one negative experience
Mm,
for an athlete to not want to go back. And for me, that is too great of a risk. So
yeah.
making sure that you are really communicating effectively as a coach is super important.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I see it from two different lenses now as a mom of young athletes. So, I had my own, athletic career growing up and in college. And so I had my own experiences with these trials, different coaching styles, parent influences from, the kids' parents on the teams and stuff like that. But now as a parent, I'm on this other side of the fence and I see the impact that coaches and other teams have on these young athletes. And it's just, like you said, that one bad experience can change so much. And I recently had this experience with my oldest son. And he played baseball at the majors level. So he was, let's see, 11 years old at the time. And he was a stellar athlete, pitcher, first baseman, solid hitter. And he was like his team, I think they were second in their league, right? And so he made it to the All-Star team. And he was like, this is his second year in All-Stars, a standout in our league. And the coach didn't didn't play players based on skill set and fairness and all of this stuff. And so it really depleted his confidence. And the new season came around and he's like, you know what? I don't think I want to play again. And I'm thinking to myself, like my heart is crushed, right? And like Mama Bear comes out and I'm thinking, how dare you? And so it's like really having, now we're in this phase of building back up his confidence. And like this one experience doesn't define you. And the experience and the feelings that he had during that All-Star season is not reflective of his talent and his skill set. And so it's like when I when I hear or think about like these impact that these coaches have, it's such a passion of mine to, get them in front of you because it's like we need somebody to coach these coaches. And I think that's something that maybe is overlooked, right? I think the work that you're doing is so important because we always think about the athlete. We always think about coaching these athletes and making sure that they have mental performance and skills and, practice. But the coaches themselves, sometimes they're volunteers, like especially in youth sports. And so it's like they're just out there because they needed somebody to fill the spot, but they don't realize the impact that they're making. And so I love that the direction that you have is to coach those coaches. I don't know if you want to expand on that a little bit, but I feel like that's something that's maybe underutilized.
Yeah, so coaches need support too, right? All leaders need some kind of support because it's a big job. It's a really big responsibility. And I am so grateful to all of the volunteer coaches out there because
Yeah.
grassroots organizations like Little League, like USA Softball, like all the flag football leagues that are coming up, right?
Yeah.
Without volunteers, those organizations, those teams don't happen.
Yeah.
But you're right. If we throw out volunteers who are like, okay, now what do I do? Um, they need a little support. They need a little coaching. And here's the thing, you don't have, I want coaches to know, especially parents who are thinking about volunteering and might be a little bit nervous, especially moms or
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
You don't have to be an expert in the sport at the youth level to be a
Mm,
coach.
good point.
You're probably a manager at your job, right? Like that's a skill. You probably run a household and are organized, right? That's a skill. If you probably know how to relate to children if you're a parent,
Yeah.
right? And so those are the skills at the youth level that are really needed. And then people like me, or the organizations who have like development teams for coaches can give you the skills, the sport specific skills, but
Yeah.
also skills like how to plan an effective practice, maybe what's going on with the teenage brain, right?
Yeah.
Those are the extras that coaches really need the support in. And I think it's super fun to give the coaches those tools because I can see them grow too throughout the season.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a niche that definitely needs to be paid attention to, supporting coaches.
So how do you get in front of these organizations so that you can, it's almost like you're trying to spread this movement almost, right? That's what it feels like to me is that like, you're on the cusp of something that has been kind of untapped, right? And how can you get in front of these organizations to make sure that they know what you have to offer and the skills and tools that you can help them with?
Yeah, great question. So the first thing, I have to convince these organizations that it's needed, because a lot of them are like, well, I didn't know how to coach. I just figured it
Yeah.
out. And it's like, yes, and
Yeah.
maybe we can do better for the next generation, right?
Yes.
And so talking to the sports organization and saying like, hey, these are the things that I offer. I offer tools for communication. I
Mm,
offer tools for connection. I offer
yeah.
tools for organization and also how to lead your team, how to manage parents. These are things that I offer, and this is going to help your league because it's going to help retention. It's going to
Mm,
help. There's going to be less friction because parents are
yeah.
going to be informed. This is going to help your league because when the players have a good experience and they get in the car and they're like, I had so much fun at practice today. My coach really knew what they were doing. Then the
Yeah.
parents are happy. Then everyone is happy, right? And so that is why a service like me at the Positive Coach is really needed. So first, I convince them of that. And then I like to do really hands-on. I don't want to lecture any coaches, right? I
Yeah.
like to do hands-on workshops so they're actually feeling what it feels like for a
Yeah.
7-year-old to be on a team playing a sport maybe for the first time, trying something new. And what does it actually feel like for my coach to ask me how
Yeah.
I'm doing today? What does it feel like to do a community building game? And then
Yeah.
giving them the coaches the why behind it. So
Yeah.
that's what I do at the Positive Coach. I love working with youth sports organizations. I also really like working with club sports
Oh, cool.
because that's a little bit higher level, but it's also really important that
Yeah.
those athletes too are also getting good coaching.
Yeah.
And then, I would love to support college coaches, but that's not really my niche. Youth sports, high school and down is more for me.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, at the high school level, it's such a pivotal time as well. Because, often they're either going to consider going to college to play sports, or that's the end of their career, right? So it's like, what, again, we go back to these transitional points where it's like make or break kind of situations where it's like either they have the skill set, the drive, and the love to take it to the next level, and having a coach to encourage them to do that, while providing a positive coaching experience, is so important. So yeah, I love it. Okay,
Yeah, so
yeah, go
girl,
ahead.
I just want to throw out there like
Yeah,
girls drop out of sports at twice the rate of boys by age
really.
14. And so that means 14 is when people are going to high school, right? And so
Yeah,
girls aren't even in sports anymore. And if we can change that,
interesting.
by having a coach who knows how to
Mhm.
connect. Because when girls feel cared for, they really, really thrive in a sports environment. And so if we can have one coach make a difference to keep them playing, we also know that I think it's 94% of C-suite women
Yes.
leadership
Our
are
athletes.
plates, yeah, are
Yeah.
athletes. And so if if they're dropping out of sports before high school, think about all the leaders that we're
Yeah.
losing out on, right? That's really
Ooh.
concerning. So we need to make sure that the coaches are educated. They know how to
Mm.
connect. They know how to care for their players. They know how to create confidence, how to instill that in their players
Yeah.
so then they can lead, right? So this is a gap that we absolutely have to bridge by supporting coaches first.
Oh, I love that. I knew about the women's C-suite, majority of them coming from an athlete background, but I didn't understand or I guess recognize the dropout rate and what age, how young it was. Because I thought, not being in the high school arena, I would think it was like sophomore, junior year, maybe,
It's earlier,
junior,
and that's
senior year.
scary.
That's very
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah,
Wow.
by to high school, they're not even going out for teams anymore, right? And so
Mm,
there, all of this research has been done by the Women's Sports Foundation. It's on their website, so check it out. I
yeah.
really encourage parents and coaches to understand these statistics
Yeah.
because we have to keep girls in sport
Yeah.
because we're missing out on leaders, and then we're also missing out on future female coaches.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To close the representation
Yes, I
loop.
love that. I
Yeah,
love the full circle there. Very nice, Claire.
huge. Yeah.
So, I would love for you to wrap this up with one final piece of advice for the athletes who are listening, for the coaches, maybe one for each of them. What would you advise them, or just kind of words of wisdom, like something to be mindful of for each of those people?
Yeah, for the athlete, I would really say just love what you're doing and kind of just trust the process because when we look at big picture, it can feel really scary. But when we stay in the day to day and we do the hard work that we need to do every single day to then accomplish our goals, amazing things can happen. But if we're like, if we look too big picture, it can feel a little bit intimidating. And
Yeah.
then for coaches, I would say connect with your players first, love them first.
Mm.
That is the most important thing. And then if they learn how to play the sport, like that's the bonus, right? But
Yeah.
if they learn how to be a good person, that is the real goal.
I love it. So, how can people get in touch with you if they need some coaching, if they want to learn about what you do, where can they get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. So follow me on Instagram, Claire the Positive Coach. I post tips and tools for coaches there. I also write a blog on my website. My website is clairerg.net. It has all of my services there, and it has a weekly blog for coaches and parents. I talk a lot about women's sports as well on the blog. So those are two great ways to find me and connect with me.
Awesome. Claire, thank you so much for being a guest and sharing all of your insight and knowledge. And I think the mission that you're on is so important. And so I hope that you can make the greatest impact and, turn these coaches into leader builders or whatever you want to call it.
Thank you. This was so fun. I love talking about youth sports and women's sports with people who also are interested in it. So thank you so much for having me.